With nearly 12,000 tools available, selecting the right MarTech can be challenging. Meet the MarTech Intelligence Reports, free buyer's guides exploring specific platforms, including purchase considerations, leading players, adoption trends, and more. No matter where you are in the purchase journey, MarTech Intelligence Reports can help.
Hello and welcome to today's session, Stack the Deck with CTV in your MarTech strategy. My name is Tyler Young. I'm a Senior Digital Marketing Analyst of Paid Media at Mountain. And to summarize my role, I'm responsible for getting live, monitoring, and optimizing all of Mountain's paid digital advertising, from paid search to social and including CTV. So today's topic is one that I have daily experience with, and I'm really excited to share all of this information with you. So what I'm hoping you take away from today's presentation is that CTV technology has reached the point where it can simultaneously be easy to use, as natural to a marketer as the major search and social platforms, but without sacrificing performance. CTV is now capable of targeting those high intent users and providing us with oodles of data that marketers love, so we can crunch and analyze it to prove just how well our campaigns are performing. So specifically what we're going to review today are the following. First, we'll show how CTV fits into your typical MarTech stack. Then we'll show you the types of data that you can expect from a CTV advertising campaign and how to track it. And then finally, we'll wrap up with a case study of a brand that has found success on CTV using keyword targeting. So, how can CTV fit into your MarTech stack? Well, let's talk about what the typical stack looks like. While it feels like there are more places to advertise than ever before, I think marketers can understand as well as anybody that budgets are limited. So if you want to reach people and maximize your budget, you need to advertise in the places where your potential customers spend most of their time. And that naturally leads marketers to emphasize a few key channels, typically paid search through Google or Microsoft, and then the social platforms that maybe fit your business best. And oftentimes that ends up being Meta, since they have both Facebook and Instagram. And those are the channels with huge user bases, and that makes them scalable. But what's interesting is that CTV is actually becoming a scalable channel as well. And today we actually have data that shows more adults use CTV than Meta, 72% versus 68%. And in terms of time spent, CTV actually blows Meta out of the water. Adults are on a CTV device for 3 times the amount of time compared to Meta. But this is not a case for ditching Meta or search or any other channel necessarily in favor of CTV, but rather that marketers can understand all these channels work well and work well together. And I think these numbers here really show that. Our data indicates that Mountain Performance TV in particular results in what we have often referred to as a halo effect. When you run Mountain ads, your brand will see a lift. And on paid social, we've seen a 9% lift on paid social when you run both CTV and paid social together. On search, that actually jumps up to 22% when you run CTV and paid search at the same time. And I can attest, with firsthand knowledge of that. Just like any other brand, Mountain has seasonal pushes and we have pullbacks depending on the time of year and our goals. And it's actually been pretty amazing to see the sort of jump we get in specifically branded searches and on our retargeting campaigns on social when we put the pedal to the metal on our various CTV advertising efforts. Another aspect of this conversation that feels important to dig into is how CTV separates itself from traditional linear TV advertising. Perhaps the biggest difference in my eyes is a data gap between the two. With linear TV, you end up getting back just a part of the picture, and sometimes it can be days or weeks before you even receive that. On CTV, you get access oftentimes to a dashboard that shows you performance data in real time. And that allows you to be more nimble with your decision making. And it gives you the opportunity to kind of slice and dice the data in just about any way imaginable. You can look at it by audience, you can look at it by network or by day, or whatever you really want to do with the data, you can do with CTV advertising. And it's just something that linear TV can't replicate in terms of the reporting back to you to then make decisions based off of. Now, something that CTV and linear have had in common for quite a while was that the targeting tended to just be overly broad. On linear, you're buying ad space on a certain channel or maybe a family of channels that oftentimes have a persona attached to them, and your brand probably fits many of those folks, and that's why you went that route. That's why you picked that network. But there's going to be many others that see your ad that probably have little interest in your product or service. And that's just kind of how it goes. And CTV has historically struggled in a similar way. And what that has resulted in is wasted impressions and therefore wasted budget. So, like we said earlier, budgets can be tight. I think marketers understand that as well as anybody. And if you're considering various avenues to spend your advertising dollars, it makes sense that you would then probably wave away a channel with limited targeting in favor of others that maybe give you a clearer picture of who exactly is watching your ads. And the traditional methods of buying ads on television have kind of soured marketers on the medium altogether, which is why, if you're a performance marketer, you have tended to flock towards paid search or paid social versus TV, because those historically have been very proven channels that you can, attribute much easier than linear television or even CTV. Fortunately, Mountain has a solution for this, and that is in the form of Mountain Matched. So, what is Mountain Matched? It's actually a really exciting first in the world of CTV advertising. What it does is it allows marketers to use specific keywords to build out an audience and then run an audience on CTV, or run a campaign rather, with that audience on CTV. So rather than using the broad audiences of the past that might include folks that are interested in your offering, Mountain Match enables you to connect with high-performing audiences that your brand will resonate with. And those folks are more likely to take action, whether that's visiting your site, filling out a form, buying a product, just any action in general that you view as valuable, you can optimize towards that with this new targeting tactic. Now, seasoned marketers are going to recognize this setup a little bit. It feels very familiar to the major search and social channels, but it's new for CTV. It's a channel, that has previously been thought of as broad and awareness based. And while you can still do that if that's a goal of yours, Mountain Matched has allowed you to utilize CTV as a performance channel. So let's get into the nitty gritty of how Mountain Matched actually works. So to keep it simple, the Mountain system will take your website and analyze it. And then based on that analysis, it's going to create a keyword profile of your ideal customer. You, as the marketer, then get to review that list of keywords. And, if there's anything in there you don't find super relevant, you can remove it. And likewise, if there's something that maybe the system missed, you can add that in as well. Now, once you've okayed the keywords, Mountain Match gets to work on finding relevant consumers across 99% of available homes in the US. Now, these are users that the Mountain AI believes are likely to purchase your products based on their shopping behavior, life events, or their interests. Previous site visitors are automatically excluded so that you can hone in on new customers. And then finally, those users are sorted into 3 buckets: high intent, medium intent, and maximum reach. And what these buckets allow you to do is focus your budget on what your goals are at the moment. And now let's talk about each of those buckets briefly. First, the high intent. These are users that are ready to convert today. They are actively researching and preparing to make a purchase decision. It's going to be a smaller group than the other two buckets, but these are people that the Mountain system is confident fit your brand. And Mountain actually believes that you can target this entire audience and maintain the same ROAS and CPA throughout. That's just how high intent the audience is, that we believe you can get them to convert. And if you target all of them, you maintain that same ROAS and CPA throughout. Medium intent are users that fit your brand, but may not be quite at the point of conversion. They are likely to visit your website and consider your brand in the near future, and they represent a great scaling opportunity, but they just aren't quite at the same level of those high intent folks. And then finally, maximum reach are users that might not fit completely into your ideal customer profile today, but they do have a chance to in the future. So there is value in reaching them if you want to create awareness and kind of nurture these folks longer term and make sure that when they do get to the point of purchasing or whatever the decision may be, that they consider your brand when doing so. So once you build out each of these buckets, the Mountain system will show you how many people exist within each one and how much you could spend to reach those folks. You can, of course, scale that spend down to meet your goals and your budgets. And the Mountain campaigns will automatically allocate budget to the highest intent bucket. But again, you can customize this. It's also easy to keep tabs on your campaign performance because you get access to real-time reporting. And this will show you how things are going at all levels of the campaign down to the keyword. So you can easily pivot and make changes based on the data that you have at your fingertips. Something to note with Mountain Matched is that it does not exist on its own within the Mountain platform. Mountain actually offers an entire suite of targeting options that includes Mountain Matched. You can retarget on Mountain. That's leveraging your first-party data, and you can have the ability to retarget users based on specific actions or locations. You also have the ability to run campaigns based on your CRM data. You just upload the data and then allow the Mountain system to match it against that same 99% of available households we mentioned earlier. And because these targeting methods have improved performance for brands that run on Mountain, it's actually served to democratize the TV advertising landscape. Budgets don't get wasted on TV like they used to, so you don't need to be a world-renowned brand with massive budgets in order to run CTV ads. In fact, 90% of Mountain clients are advertising on TV for the very first time, which is a fact that I know the organization is really, really proud of. Adding on to that point of simplicity and accessibility, I wanted to say that running CTV ads today is very easy. From the marketer's perspective, there are no new skills to learn. You might have to figure out, where the buttons are within the specific CTV advertising platform you choose, but everything else is really straightforward from there. It functions just like the channels you've been using for years. And what's great is that you get tons of data being reported in real time on which you can make decisions. It's a level of transparency that TV advertising has never really had. But you should understand that not all CTV advertising channels are the same. And if you do decide to dive into CTV advertising, you should look for a provider that has a dashboard that is easy to use and understand and gives you the sorts of data levers that you care about. Just to sort of paint the picture of what I mean by the different levers, at Mountain, for example, you can look at your data a bunch of different useful ways. You can look at keyword reporting. Mountain Matched, as we discussed earlier, will recommend a healthy number of keywords to target, but you don't have to guess which one of the 15 or 30 or whatever you may pick keywords is performing. You can actually dig in and see if it's one or two in particular that are doing the heavy lifting. There's also a TV network report. You can look and see on which channels your ads are showing and where they're really working, and likewise where they're not working. You can also take a look at Mountain's incrementality report. And what this will do is show you the kind of difference the CTV advertising is making by comparing a control group that has not been exposed to CTV ads to one that has. And then finally, Mountain also provides third-party support from a plethora of partners that you likely already use. Some examples here are Tableau, GA4, and Rockerbox. Now, before we wrap up, I do actually want to show you an example of what a brand that's using Mountain and finding success. One Wheel, in case you're not familiar, is a company that makes electric self-balancing skateboards that are built for all terrains. They go off-road, on-road, and everything in between. And what they wanted to do recently was expand their customer base and grow sales, which is, certainly a common and understandable goal for many businesses. The trouble they ran into was that their product is pretty unique, so it was tough to find a customer base or reach specific audiences. So they turned to Mountain and the Mountain Match targeting tool to solve this problem. And the results were pretty extraordinary. After starting their Mountain CTV campaign with Mountain Matched targeting, One Wheel experienced 15x higher ROAS, a 95% lower CPA, and a 14x jump in their site visit rate. And you can actually see the quote here from their VP of e-commerce. He says, Mountain Matched has finally allowed us to discover and hone in on our most valuable CTV customers. And thankfully, One Wheel continues to be a top performer for Mountain today. So to recap everything that we covered today, first, CTV has grown so much in recent years that it now resembles many of the tools that marketers have been using for a long time now. And it has the performance to boot, thanks to the keyword level targeting of Mountain Matched. That keyword feature has improved control over campaign targeting. And you pair that with improved efficiencies and less wasted spend, and it makes it a logical and simple addition to any marketing stack for businesses of all sizes. And finally, if you do decide to get into CTV advertising, be sure it's with a partner that offers flexible dashboards that allows you to leverage the data you care about and enables you to drive the sort of performance that your brand is after. That will conclude today's session. I appreciate you all for tuning in, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Click the agenda link at the top of your screen to choose your next session.